I want to talk about why fight or flight mode is keeping you broke, is keeping you stuck. And coming from personal experience, I want to say if you're stuck in fight or flight mode or worried about making ends meet, it's going to stop you from accessing the bandwidth, higher bandwidths and levels of consciousness that can allow you to start creating your best life and doing your life's work. So if you're stuck in fight or flight mode and you're, worrying about how you're going to make the bills or how are you going to make it, then you will continuously do things that keep you running on the gerbil wheel, so to speak. And it's very important to acknowledge this stuff. But one other thing is, you can't even access the consciousness of acknowledgement a lot of times if you're in fight or flight mode and the amygdala is triggered and you're in fight or flight mode. So I've been obsessed with this very, very specific topic. Hey, what's up? I've been obsessed with this topic for 20 years now, and I can never get to the bottom of it. And just now, over literally the past year or two, has it becoming a little bit clearer. And in my experience, I went from a flat broke guy making, $9-10 an hour, living in with roommates and apartments and in mobile homes and in my car and all these things, and being in debt and experience all types of turmoil, to now being what I always considered and dreamed and hoped would be successful. And the funniest thing is, when you, here, let me get off this treadmill real quick. I'm trying to do a treadmill. I'm very reluctant to post videos about this type of stuff because I think that most people don't really care. And I care about it so much because I've watched this information change my entire life. You could have $100,000 in the bank and still be terrified running on a gerbil wheel, thinking that any minute the rug is going to get pulled out from underneath you. Why? Because you're traumatized. You have PTSD. If you take somebody and you throw them in a river or capsize a boat and they're swimming for their lives, and all of a sudden you take them out and now they're fine, they're on land, they could have nightmares about that for forever, to the end of their life, because there's trauma. Well, just like you can go from being broke and struggling to survive and just to make your bills, and then you can finally claw your way out of the hole and get stability in your life, financial stability, a roof over your head, your bills are paid, some emergency money in the bank, but still be traumatized, and you just cannot relax for a second because you're terrified that any minute you're going to go back to struggling again. Any minute something's going to fall apart, right? And that's not a fun life to live. It's a stressful life to live. So how can you sit down and work on your life's work and begin to create a legacy if you don't first unravel the toxic bullshit that you've been through and unravel the pathologies in your subconscious? Well, that's where personal development and a lot of self-work needs to be done. And the ego is so protective over your fear of annihilation and death and trying to keep you alive in your survival, that the ego, even if you try to suggest to the ego that you're going to work on yourself and do some personal development, the ego is going to go into offensive mode, probably, and it's going to attack by keeping you unconscious and in unnecessary suffering and blind. So, for instance, I can give you a great example if I'm not being clear. Just like in relationships, let's say you have a really messed up relationship and you require some form of therapy or counseling with your spouse, right, or your fiance. Well, even the suggestion of therapy or even working on your can send you into a defensive mode, or you just can't handle it. You can't face it. Just like if you don't have the money to pay off debts and somebody's suggesting you should start paying off your debt, you can immediately get defensive because you don't have the money to pay off your debts. Yeah, but you need to be paying on your debts. You need to be, well, what if I don't have the money? You go into this reactive state, right? So I am coming to the conclusions that these reactive states, you've heard that before. You're in a reactive state. Well, these reactive states are actually, if you reverse engineer them, they're very logical. You have reasons why you are defensive. You have reasons why you have the fears that you have, or you don't trust the people that you don't trust. You have very sound reasons. But the weird thing is, socially, when we go to describe those reasons to other people, we get shut down as though we're making excuses. I don't want to hear your excuses. Well, what really is an excuse, right? So there's a lot of stuff to untangle here. And unfortunately, in the world, we're constantly driven by social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, to run towards entertainment and anything that masks the pain and suffering, so you don't have to stare into the black abyss, the black hole of your shadow self. It's so painful and so uncomfortable that we just continue to keep working, running on the gerbil wheel, ignoring the real problems, and we just perpetuate that cycle. But if you don't want to end up in regret, we have to do the work of personal development. For me, it's fear of getting old, watching my life go by and waking up 56 years old one day and being unsuccessful, unconscious, unhappy, unhealthy, unhealthy marriage, unhealthy financial life, and to have never have lived out my dreams, to have never created a legacy, to have never have done all the things that I said I would do, right? That's fear. And all you have to do is look at somebody who's gone down that path, and then that might be enough motivation. But everything that I'm saying, it starts with the here and now. How can you take the time for personal development to work on yourself and unravel the shit from the past? Because you got to expand the top as you dissolve the bottom. You dissolve the bottom as you expand the top, right? It's actually very hard to just go out and start trying to achieve new things and take on new risks and get on the treadmill. I want to, but it's kind of loud here. It's hard to start taking on new endeavors when you were so suffocated or weighed down by all the things of the present and the past. You must first cut all the anchors and all the ropes of the things that are holding you down and stopping you from evolving. Once you go through and you work on your relationships, you work on yourself, you solve old past issues, you go through these levels of forgiveness, forgiving others, forgiving yourself, loving yourself, thanking people, and healing a lot of the issues in your life, creating healthy boundaries, learning how to say no, standing up and having the difficult conversations with the people in your life who pull you down, negative, toxic family members. Thanks so much. I'm reading all your comments. So, I believe you have to go through all this personal self-work and relationship work. And then what happens is when you start to heal all that shit in your life and have these difficult conversations and even go to war with people that you love, say, no, I'm no longer going to tolerate this shit. Because you could have somebody negative in your life who's even a family member that you could be having a good day, and one conversation with that person can be like a succubus that can drain you and put you in such a state of anxiety. And if that person in your life can have so much control over you in that aspect, that one conversation with them can put you in an anxiety tailspin for 3 to 4 days. And now that anxiety in you rubs off on the people around you and that you love, and now you're fighting with people, and it causes this whole domino effect, this engineered situation. And by the time you get over that, and it just happens again. And you're stuck in these endless loops and cycles of fear and suffering and anxiety and all this bullshit. And how the fuck are you supposed to chase your dreams? So that's what I'm talking about, doing the self-work first. When you do the work and you cut, imagine you're like swimming in the water, but you got a bunch of boat anchors tied to your feet. When you cut those ropes, what happens is you'll just literally start to evolve up naturally. It's like a beach ball when you're holding it down. Meditation, yes. Yes, Braden, meditation. If you're holding a beach ball down under the water, it can get so exhausting that you finally give up and let go. And then the beach ball just floats up to the top naturally. Why? Because that's its natural state. Is to be buoyant and in well-being and to be happy and healthy and feel freedom, peace. So if you want to chase the endeavors that you've always dreamed of pursuing, they all are very real and possible, and they're waiting for you right now to chase them and achieve them. They're all there. They were set in your heart, and they were set in your mind and in your desires for a reason, because they're fully attainable. You can attain them. I'm telling you that if Keith Kalfas is watching his dreams come true, if I can do it, you can do it. Because I was fucked up. Like, anxiety to the point of mental illness. So bad where I was paralyzed by my own thoughts and anxieties and fears, to the point where I could do nothing except for just go to work every day and come home and pay bills and just suffer it out, waiting and hoping and praying for something to change. And it all comes and boils down to a singular decision. Just get the fuck up, go look in the mirror, look in your own eyes and say, today is the day that I choose the outcome. That's what it comes down to, is a singular choice. And then once you make that first choice, you make the choice moment by moment, day by day. You brought home food? I just got on the treadmill, woman. My wife just brought home hot food, and I had 10 minutes on the treadmill, and I spent it with you. So I'm going to eat and then jump back on the treadmill. Love you guys. You guys are the shit. Later.